passing Coach Holland on the all-time wins list at Montana State. That sort of got overshadowed the last couple of weeks. So, I mean, just your thoughts. There's a statue of the man out front of the stadium, so it must be an honor for you to move beyond him on the wins list.
For sure. Coach Holland is everything here, and that's a piece of that was his coaching career. I think everything he was for so long as a player, an All-American national championship player, coming back as an assistant to become a head coach, and then beyond that, as much on the administrative fundraising side, his legacy is at the top of the list here at Montana State. And I know his time as a coach was obviously a very successful run for the Bobcats. So, to be, I guess, mentioned alongside of him, whatever, I think, it does certainly mean a lot, because I know I got a chance to meet him a few times, to spend some time with him before he had passed, get to know his daughters, his family, and as much as anything, hear from all the guys that he coached through that stretch and how much he meant. He's something else, and this place, clearly meant the world to him, and he made sure that he left his fingerprints all over it, I guess. So, yeah, I think different time as far as where I'm coaching compared to where he's coaching, opportunities, games, playoff games, all that stuff. But yes, it's quite an honor to be mentioned alongside him.
Well, you mentioned his fingerprints as being on everything. That's the most striking part, right? Is you see different factions of Bozeman. There's so many of those guys that play for him that are still around, that are pillars of the community, and they all talk about Coach Holland and the impact he had on their lives. So long lasting, it seems like. It seems like he's had an impact for 5+ decades there, just in that community in general.
Yeah, and just the other night we had our quarterback club banquet, and there was a group of the guys that were on the 76 team, and they were giving me some compliments, I suppose, and it's like, and we played for Sonny. I'm like, yeah, I know you played for Sonny. I know that. I know what time what years you were through here, and I think the thing about him, it really has nothing to do with X's and O's and any of that. It's who he was to those guys as a mentor, father figure, and I know that didn't end when they walked off campus. I think that was a forever thing for those guys, and I had a chance to go to his memorial service back in, I think it would have been December of 22, and the guys that made their way back for that, and I think that it's those type of days where you see it up close and personal what this person meant to all these people, and you hear the stories and all that. So, I think as a coach, yes, you can be compared on the wins and losses side for sure, but to ultimately get to the end of your career and be compared to someone like him as far as the impact you had on young men, and then men as they grow and become husbands and fathers and all that stuff. That's what you really, I think, marks who you were and the legacy you left. So he clearly did that, and deserves all the praise, and the statue and everything, the end zone. I think that all comes with the territory for what he did for